I can't lose Quinn. I can't lose her, Nora, Fred bawled.
Pull yourself together, Mr. Smith,
Nora, the children's nanny, urged through the phone.
You need to be strong for the children. No matter what happens, they will need your help through all of this.
You're right, as usual, Fred managed finally. I'm thankful that they have you.
Of course. You're marrying Quinn, who is like a daughter to me. So, please, know that you also have me, okay? I'm here to support this family no matter what.
The nanny's reassurance was bittersweet for Fred to hear. Fred himself knew too well how awful it was to be injured, then in a coma, and then to wake up without any idea of what had happened. He himself had been in the back of a jeep, traveling with his squad across the Afghan desert, when the vehicle had run over a hidden explosive. He'd been the only survivor that day, and he'd also been in a coma for 3 long years. I'll call again as soon as I know anything new, okay? Fred promised Nora, and the two said their goodbyes. As Fred hung up, he got a new news notification on his phone. The article was titled, Billionaire's Ex-Wife Launches Tea-Spilling Content Channel. His stomach dropped. When Fred tapped the notification and opened the page, his worst fears were realized. There was a photo of Beatrice and a story all about her deal with Clive Henderson's production company and a link to the first episode of Money and Style with the Queen Bee. Fred didn't want to look, but he knew he had to see. He'd be sending along this link to his divorce lawyers regardless. They would certainly be able to find some way in which this show violated Beatrice's prenuptial agreement. He tapped the link and braced himself. "Hello, darlings," crooned Beatrice, dressed completely to the nines and looking glamorous. "I'm Beatrice Smith. You may address me as the Queen Bee." She was in front of a background photograph that made her look like she was reporting live from the lobby of one of New York's most expensive hotels. "I'm also known as Mrs. Fred Smith. Yes, that's Fred Smith, the billionaire CEO of Rex Corp. He threw me out and left me penniless. So what's a girl to do?" "Bring you all along for the ride, of course. I'll take you shopping in all the best boutiques in New York. I'll teach you about style. I'll give you all the best gossip about New York City society. And most importantly, I'll tell all of you the truth about Fred and his new fiancée, Dr. Quinn Murphy, who was recently fired from her job as a neurosurgeon." A very unflattering photograph of Quinn now appeared beside Beatrice. "This home wrecker didn't even wait until we were divorced. Can you imagine?" Beatrice turned and threw a dart behind her, which landed right between Quinn's eyes. Fred emailed the article and the video link to his divorce attorney. "Kill this however you can," he typed in the message field and sent it along, his anger toward Beatrice rising up inside him. She had already gone viral with this channel, he noticed, counting her millions of views that were increasing by the second, realizing that he needed to calm down. Fred powered off his phone and decided to go outside for a moment. He'd been at the hospital for hours now, and it was close to midnight. He would need some sleep soon. "Let's go, Max," he said to his security chief, who immediately set about arranging for a car pickup in front of the hospital. As Fred walked through the lobby, he stopped at the information desk. "Can you please leave word upstairs with Dr. Crawford that I am to be contacted if there is any change at all in Quinn Murphy's condition? Even a minor change. Don't hesitate. I'll have someone on call answering that number all night." "Yes, sir," said the nurse. As Fred nodded and continued outside, Fred looked upward into the darkness, wondered which star was the right one to wish on, to make everything okay. "I wish that Quinn gets better," he whispered to the stars, hoping desperately to be heard. "Fred!" boomed a familiar voice nearby as Max held the door to the limousine open. Fred climbed inside, glad to be leaving the hospital and heading toward some rest, even if all of his thoughts were troubled ones about Quinn and the future. Max, his security chief, was also a veteran who had served in Afghanistan. "Are you going to be all right?" he asked Fred. "Thank you, Max," answered his boss. "I know you get it, how this is messing me up a little," continued Fred. "That I do," said Max, his eyes adopting a faraway look. Fred drew his phone from his pocket and turned it on before handing it to Max. "If the hospital calls, wake me up at once, okay?" Fred asked. Max nodded, grimly. "Have you seen that thing with Beatrice?" began the security guard. "Unfortunately, yes," Fred exhaled. "I sent all the information to my attorneys. She will have to tread very carefully not to break her non-disclosure agreement. If they can't find a violation, they need to make one up. I'm not going to have her all over the internet making me a bad guy and Quinn some kind of homewrecker," he said. "Especially since the engagement between Quinn and I isn't even real," he added mentally. "There really doesn't seem to be any depths to which that woman won't sink." "Sir," said Max, clearly trying to decide how or whether to proceed with what he wanted to say next. "What's on your mind, Max? You know you can speak freely in front of me. Spill it. What were you going to say?" "I was just thinking about how suspicious it was that Beatrice suddenly arrived at your bedside with a son that exact age that he would have been if you had fathered him when you were back in the States. That Christmas before your accident. I know you love Jake, and he really is a great kid, but maybe you should be investigating some things about the nature of your relationship with Beatrice. I don't trust her, sir." "You're a good man, Max," Fred told his bodyguard. "Right now, nothing is more important than Quinn getting better. Nothing. But you better believe there's going to be a reckoning for Beatrice at some point. Maybe not now, but there will be. Understand this. I don't care what the results of a DNA test are. Jake is my son. That won't change. The only thing that will change is how much Beatrice is able to filch from my bank account, which I'm betting is zero if she's been able to perpetrate the kind of fraud we both believe she is capable of." "Good that you're on it," said Max. "We shouldn't lose sight of that. She is one of the biggest security risks to you and your family." "Agreed, but I'm letting the lawyers take a first crack at shutting down this new craziness. They'll find a violation or put in a gag order. Anything's possible. For now, though, I'm exhausted. Stay close to that phone and wake me the instant you hear anything new from the hospital." "Absolutely," responded Max. The two men rode in silence until they reached Fred's building, and then rode the elevator in silence as well. Fred went into his bedroom and only kicked off his shoes and loosened his tie. Then collapsed onto the bed and fell asleep immediately. It was only a few short hours later when Max shook Fred awake. "Max?" yawned Fred. "The hospital called," said Max. "Quinn is awake."
Hi, Quinn here, and if you're wondering what happens next, click on the link in the description to listen to the full audio series. You can also watch the next episode here in the playlist.